In today's video, we're going through the process of installing a solar system on this ROG 12BH. We're going to install it without drilling any holes and using all of the hardware that comes in one of your basic cheap Amazon kits. We're going to come across several things we got to troubleshoot. It's not always easy to make your own little brackets to install the panel up top the way you want it, but it all comes together at the end. Also, this entire video minus this intro is shot with this Akaso Brave 7 LE, which is a pretty awesome little action camera that I'll be reviewing in coming weeks. But like I said, the entire video is shot with this, and stick around and let's see how I install this entire solar system. So before we get everything mounted to the top of the camper here, I want to make sure this older solar kit still works. So I got it all hooked up kind of temporarily into the battery right here, as you can see. It's kind of just laying in there, and then over here it's got the solar panel sitting out, so we're going to test it out because I would hate to get it all hooked up and for some reason it not work, and that's just time wasted. So I'm going to get the battery down to 95%, then hook it up, and we'll see how long it takes it to get to 100%. So I did notice it was kind of windy out here, so I turned the wind noise reduction down on this camera to see if it helps. So we're going to keep it on. Of course, I go to record and the wind's not blowing as bad, but we're going to keep it on and see how it does to make the sound a little bit better with this camera. All right, we are at 95% now, as you can see. And so we're going to hook up the solar panel, and I got everything turned off on the camper. No power coming to it, no power being consumed. So we're going to see how long it takes the solar panel to get it to 100%. So I'll start our stopwatch as soon as I get it plugged in. So it's been about 15 minutes and there wasn't really any movement in the battery. Now I'm not 100% sure on the wiring and how it needs to go. So for the first 15 minutes I had the battery disconnected from the camper itself. I'm going to try turning the battery back on with the disconnect, this thing right here. Connecting it back, maybe going for another 15 or 20 minutes and see where we're at. Maybe it has to be hooked in to charge. I'm not really an electrician, so I'm not sure how the wiring works for this specific camper, but we'll get about 15-20 more minutes and check it out. So one thing that has me questioning everything on how this is wired is normally whenever it's charging, whether it be off shore power or even off the solar panel that came with it from Encore, the battery monitor flashes to indicate that it's charging, and it's not doing that at all. Now I don't know if that's because I have the solar connected straight to the battery vice through the switch, but we're just gonna go through this trial and error and see if it charges in the next 15 or 20 minutes. So I have identified the problem, so it's user error obviously. I believe the problem is the battery settings. So within the charge controller, it lets you pick which type of battery you have. Unfortunately, I don't have the manual, so I'm sitting here Googling, seeing what I can find. Hopefully I can get something so we get the right battery type programmed into the charge controller, and we can get this thing up and running. So I got my buddy Jesse and Kyle out here, and we're trying to figure this out. We don't know if it's a setting within the controller or what, so we have multimeters out, trying to figure out what's going on. I don't know. Everything seems to be wired up appropriately, but for some reason we're not getting any charge to the battery. We'll keep at it, I guess, and figure it out. So it's been a couple of days, and because of the rain, had to take some time off. But my buddy Jesse hooked me up with this solar controller by Victron to see if it actually will work for this setup. We think the issue is with the controller that I was trying to use. For some reason it's not wanting to work with this lithium battery. So we're going to get this thing hooked up and get the solar panel into the sun and see if we can get some charge out of it. After a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of Googling, I was able to find how to hook up the Topsolar, the cheaper knockoff Chinese brand solar controller to this LiFePO 4 battery. So to do that, the battery settings needs to be set to 1 Bravo 3. So if you need to know that, 1 Bravo 3 works on the LiFePO batteries. But in order to get it to work on the Renogy battery control system, you have to hook it up in a certain way. So I'm going to show you that right now. So as I was saying, on this battery, on this solar controller, you can see here the type of battery is 1 Bravo 3. I don't know if you can see. There, that's a little better. 1 Bravo 3. But to hook it, this is all temporary. We're going to button it up a little bit more. But to get it wired up correctly, you want to hook the ground coming from the solar controller to this shunt down here. So it's this little thing that holds the grounds for the Renogy battery control system, and then you hook the hot to the battery terminal, and that's going to be applicable to any solar system that you're going to hook to one of these campers. Now, I am still hopeful to figure out the settings for this Victron because it is a better unit, but we'll see what happens. Right now, we're going to push forward with getting the rest of this wired up, get a breaker hooked up or in line with the hot, and see what we can get into next. And just to show what you want to be looking for out of this Renogy unit is, see how it's flashing? That means that, and the arrows are moving in the upward direction, so it shows that power is coming in. And in the last 10 minutes, we've already went up a percentage, so it's pretty good off of this shoddy small solar controller and a Amazon brand 170 watt solar panel. That we have everything working, all wired up. We got to work on mounting the panels up top and the nice mounting of the controller on the storage space. So for mounting on top, I'm going to stick it right here on the front portion, and I'm going to use these poles that I have that were actually old roof rack bars. I'm just going to cut them down and then mount the panel to it. So we'll do all of that on the ground right here, and then pick it up, put it all up top, get it all buttoned up, and hopefully this all comes together how it should. Okay, what I'm doing now is attaching the panel to these bars. Instead of using the hardware that it came with, I'm using just some angle pieces from the hardware and some self-tapping screws. Under this, I am lining it with very high bond stripping from 3M. It's super sticky, just for a little bit of insurance to make sure that we don't have to worry about this thing flying off or anything. So going to do the same thing on the other end, and then we're going to work on the brackets to get it attached to the roof rack. So after quite a few days of working on it in the afternoon and going back and forth, finding the right parts and everything, I finally got it all back together, and it's officially working. We'll see if I keep it in this current configuration, but for right now I think it does the job, and yeah, let me show you guys what it looks like. Now you will notice on the camper I did run the wires on the outside. Now that's because right now at this point I didn't feel comfortable drilling into the actual camper itself. Now there may be something down the road where I look at going in through one of these ports right here, or doing one of those actual connectors that run the wires in, but I think this is gonna still meet the mark, and it doesn't look terrible, but I'm pretty happy with the end result. We're still going to work on that Victron solar controller, see if we can get it working, but for now the one that we have on there works just fine. So I'm out here the next morning trying to make sure everything still works how it should, and I have the worst luck. I come out here and I cannot get the solar controller to turn on at all. Messing around with it, I end up unhooking the battery lead as well as the solar hot lead, and then plug it back in and it works. I don't know what's going on. I had the breaker off last night, so there was no power moving through it. So now I am waiting for the sun to come over the house so I can turn it on and see if we get some good charge. So it looks like we have enough sunlight now to turn the breaker on and start a little timer. So if you can see here, I got the solar charger on, or solar controller on, and everything up and running. And inside the camper we are at 33% and charging. So we're going to start a timer and see how long we get to a higher number. We'll check in probably about, I don't know, 20-30 minutes and see where we're at. So something I noticed for this test is that the solar excuse me, the solar panel is not in direct sunlight. So I think I'm going to just have the timer, see how much we gain in battery percentage until the sun starts hitting it, and then do another test under full sunlight. I think it'll be a better accurate, or more accurate representation of how this solar panel is going to do for this battery. So I believe we got everything running how we want it to. Unfortunately, the solar panel is just acting like a cheaper solar panel. But hopefully it meets the needs that we have for our power consumption. If not, we'll look into getting another panel. I'm probably also going to get another solar power controller. The one that we're using here just doesn't give me the feedback and the data that I'd like to have, so I might get one that has Bluetooth so I can see how much power is coming in and how efficient it's being. So I hope you appreciated this video. It was pretty frustrating going through the process of putting this all together, but it finally came together in the end. Also, making this video with this Akaso Brave 7 LE has been pretty seamless. It's just like any other action camera. I could definitely tell some of the positives and negatives as I went through the editing process early on. But I mean, for the price point, you can't really complain. It's a great little action camera. Definitely in highlight and not so much in low light. Sound is okay. You know, you're going to get better quality out of other cameras, but there's going to be plenty of more reviews on this camera. We're going to do an unboxing and some other stuff in some upcoming videos, so please subscribe and check that out. Yeah, and if you like this type of content, give it a subscribe. Thanks for watching.